Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Body Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Palmer. This is the intersection of physical success, financial success, and time freedom. I'm so excited you're here because today we're talking about something that I think is very important. And the reason that it's important is because it's very simple. A lot of people think that if you're not working at maximum capacity, doing jump rope or hip classes or all these crazy bodyweight movements that you're seeing your favorite Instagram influencers doing, then you are training like a pussy and you're never going to get results. I had someone actually reach out and they were like, hey, I've been stuck for a long time. I've been training really like a lot. I've been spending an hour to 2 hours in the gym 4 to 6 days per week. And when I asked a trainer about that at the gym, he said, you're probably not training hard enough. What he legit said was, you're probably training like a pussy, which is crazy to me because a lot of times people think that they have to be going 100%. Like every exercise has to leave you, like scrape you off the ground with a shovel and throw you in the garbage can to get results. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. And I'm going to give you one really good example of a way that you can train in a way that improves your cardiovascular capacity. It increases your ability to use oxygen. It's going to make it so you don't feel winded walking up a set of stairs. Imagine that. Like you walk up 5-10 flights and not feel crazy, like burnt out or like you need a 30-minute rest. It's also going to help you burn fat at an accelerated rate because we're staying in a zone that doesn't spike your cortisol levels or increase your stress. I'm also going to show you how this is a more effective way of doing cardio because it actually pays you. You get paid every time you do this method. And then finally, I'm going to tell you just how to do this in a really simple way. So this is called the 30-15-3 method. So you may have heard other people talk about this. This is something that I've been promoting for I think my earliest time was when I was training clients having them do this was 2013. I started really getting into this type of modality. And I just love it because it's simple, it's low impact, it pays you, and you get a great result from it. Okay. So 30-15-3, what is this? Simply, it's incline treadmill walking. Okay. So take that treadmill and put it to really good use because when you're at a flat on a treadmill, and when you're walking on a treadmill and it's flat, or you're jogging and it's flat, what happens is we lose a lot of our posterior chain. We lose a lot of our hamstrings and our calf and glute involvement because that belt is moving your leg along. That belt is pulling your leg from one side of the treadmill to the other. Now, so if we are not careful, then we can easily start losing out on some of the back of the leg muscle, like the pieces that it does most effectively, which is pushing your leg back and kind of propelling you forward because the treadmill is already doing that automatically. So we need to counteract that by adding that incline. Okay. So 30 basically stands for 30 minutes. Okay. Doing this 30 minutes a day. You don't need much more than that if you're trying to get results, especially if you're in a place where you don't have a ton of time. Most of my clients are stupid busy. They don't just have 2 hours to burn, on cardio every day. So this is a very simple, effective way of doing it. And that's what I'm all about. High ROI. What's the biggest return on the smallest investment? What is going to have us the least downside and the highest upside? 30-15-3 right here. Okay. 30 minutes on a treadmill. That's all you need. 15 is the incline there. We want to put this a pretty steep incline. So we're really kind of leaning forward, keeping our core engaged, and then almost like we're hiking uphill. Okay. You ever been on a nice long hike where you start to feel like, oh man, my glutes are working, my calves are working. Like I feel really good. Like I feel like my lower body is activated and engaged. That's what we're looking for here. So keeping you kind of in that zone of like not strength training, but also not just like a walk on the treadmill or we're pedaling like a recumbent bike. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to make this even harder. If you're like walking on a treadmill, bro, that's easy mode. Don't worry about it. I got you. And then 3 basically just means 3 speed. Now 30-15-3, that's great. That's up here. That's what we're looking for. That's the standard. Okay. Can you go higher than that? Sure, you can. Can you go lower than that? Absolutely. And if you're just starting off, maybe start at like a 2.5, 2.6 speed, maybe start at a 10 or a 12 incline. Don't feel like you have to go 30-15-3 right off the bat. That's the standard and you can work up to it. That's no problem. So 30 minutes at 15 incline and a 3 speed. Now, what I love about this is that this puts us between like a zone 2 and a zone 3 in terms of our cardio. Okay. Zone 2 is basically like 60-70% of our heart rate max. Zone 3 is 70-80%. A lot of people refer to the zone 2 as like the fat loss zone, I think. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. So above that, they think of it as more of like an endurance based or cardiovascular based. And while that's all well and good, I don't want to get too tied up in the fat loss zone aspect of things, because what I really want to do is just help you increase your cardiovascular capacity, burn some fat without increasing your need to recover. Okay. So zone 2 does that really well. Zone 2 helps us really get to a place where we're actually using our cardio as a recovery tool, similar to like we would be like doing foam rolling, massage, meditation, stretching. That's a recovery. Those are recovery tools. So essentially what we're doing is we're getting paid by our cardio to do that exercise. So the examples of things that you're paying for, strength training is like that. You do heavy squats, you do deadlifts, you're doing something a little heavier, you're going to be a little bit sore. Your body needs to spend energy, time, and resources to recover. So while it's a stressor, it's a good stress. We call it a eustress. It's still going to cost you. HIIT classes for me are kind of a very high cost, low reward type of exercise. HIIT classes really spike that stress levels. They increase your cortisol, which is one of the worst things to do if you're trying to actually eliminate belly fat. So if you're like, man, I haven't been getting results, I'm busting my ass, probably need to decrease your intensity in some of those HIIT classes in that way. So just something to kind of consider depending on, and like self-diagnose depending on the results that you're getting from the effort you're putting in. So we are staying in the zone 2 to zone 3. By the way, to figure out your heart rate, what you do is just take 220 and subtract your age. And that's your 100%. That's your maximum heart rate. So if you're 40 years old, your maximum heart rate allegedly is like 180. The better shape you get into, the more your heart rate will be able to go up. You'll be able to hit that 185, 190, 195 safely. So that's just kind of like a very general rule. Take that for what you will. So, and by the way, these zone 2s and zone 3s and stuff like that, these are not hard and fast rules. Don't stress about them. And then the last thing I'll say about zone 2 is that it's not necessarily the fat burn zone. You're just burning a tiny percentage higher amount of fat rather than the oxygen or rather than carbohydrates. So if in zone 3, you're burning 55% carbohydrates and oxygen versus 45% fat, in zone 2, you're maybe burning 55% fat and 45% carbs and oxygen, but you're burning less calories overall. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So don't get tied up in zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. I just like zone 2 because it's helpful in recovery. And that's what we need to pay attention to, stresses versus recovery. Most of us have too much stress, too little recovery. So we need to flip-flop that if we're looking to get results, sustain them, and feel really good long-term. So if you're like, okay, I got that. That's easy. I'm a beast. It's no problem for me. What should I do instead? Well, this is when it gets fun, because what I would love for you to do is take a weight vest and put that on, especially if you lost weight recently. If you've lost 15, 20, 30, 40 pounds, go get a weight vest that is close to the amount of weight you lost. So I lost about 40 pounds in the last year or so, kind of from about like 2021 to right now. I rock a 25-pound weight vest most of the time. 40 pounds seems to light up my traps and shoulders a little bit too much, where I get a little stiff in my neck after using them for a while. But that 25 feels good. I can walk long distances in it. It doesn't beat up my knees or my feet, even when I'm walking with really minimal shoes. And then also when I'm walking on that incline treadmill, it really provides a good stimulus to my core and keeps my hips tucked underneath. Okay. A lot of people have told me, hey, yeah, when I do that, like my back starts hurting. Well, it's because you're arching your back and you're leaning back on your spine rather than leaning forward, using your core musculature to hold your body upright. So just make sure you're staying stacked. And what I mean by stacked is that your pelvis is underneath you. You're not kicked back like that, like like the fitness girl influencer shoulder day. And you're like, that's your ass. That's your ass. But thanks for the selfie. So your booty's not kicked back. And then also the thing that most men forget to think about is that their ribs need to not be flared. So if your ribs are out, you're sticking your chest out, make sure that the ribs are actually pulled down in front by thinking about doing like a little bit of a baby crunch. And so you don't need to have that at like 100%, like you're going to take a punch from Mike Tyson. You can't really breathe. Sounds like you're about to poop. That's not what we need. So having that, if that's a 10 out of 10, then having yourself about a 2 to a 3 consistently as you walk, it's going to increase it's going to make it harder for you to get a full deep breath, but that's okay. It's going to help you control your oxygen and do a little better job there. So the 30-15-3 method, amazing for weight loss. It's amazing for zone 1 and zone 2, increasing your cardiovascular health, paying you in terms of your recovery, as well as making sure that it's something that's simple. It's easy. You don't have to have a ton of technique. You don't have to go learn how to do a clean and press. You can just go to the gym and do this. And if this is something that you are not passionate about, you don't love working out, start here. This is so easy. You can't screw this up. You probably have a treadmill in your house, or you have access to a gym, all you need is 30 minutes. Just get in there and do it. And if you're like, that's too easy, throw that weight vest on. Men should be shooting for between like 20 and 40 pounds. Ladies should be shooting between like 15, 25 pounds. That's probably ideal. I've got a great weight vest that I like. It's kind of like upper back and shoulder one. And I'll throw the link in the comments here as well if you wanted to check it out. See what's good with that. But the 30-15-3 method, try it out this week and let me know what you think. You can run this 3 to 6 times per week. You don't have to do this only once a week. So if you're really looking for maximum weight loss in the next short period of time, do this 6 times a week. Do this every single day. And you can do your weights on top of it. It's no problem. But do this every single day as kind of a warm up, get you rocking and rolling, especially if you're training in the morning, and watch the results happen. It's going to be incredible. You're going to get sick results, and I would love to hear about them. Make sure you give us a like and a follow on this. Check out the Low Carb Hustle podcast going live soon. We're going to drop 4 episodes for you right off the bat, first week of April. So check that out. And then we're going to be launching every Wednesday. The $1 Million Body podcast, I'm still going to have this going on, but we're only going to be doing 1 podcast per month moving forward. So make sure you go ahead and follow us over at the Low Carb Hustle podcast, where I got called up to be the host, a little bit of a bigger podcast. I was telling people before that we have some great guests starting off. Danny Cavadlo, a calisthenics expert, is going to be joining us this for the first episode drop. Rob Wolf is coming on in April to talk about nutrition, meats, and then his company LMNT, which is an amazing electrolyte drink that I've been enjoying. So follow us over there. Hopefully this has been a very impactful, effective tip for you, and I'll see you on the other side.